Hey everybody, welcome to Make It Monday. And today it's about measuring odd items. If you ever wanted to make like a cover for your KitchenAid, or you wanted to make a cozy for your iron and you're like, oh, the math isn't mathing today. And how am I going to get a round thing onto a flat cutting mat and measure it? Well, I've got some tips for you today. It's very, very simple. Okay, so the first thing is just regular twine, right? So you're just going to take some regular twine, and this is just a creamer jar. So let's say this is ugly. I don't want this on my counter. I want to make something for it. So I just take my twine and I just kind of overlap it and measure it. Now I can cut it right at this point. I'm going to do that, and then I can add my seam allowance, however I want my seam allowance to be. So this gives you the circumference you need to make that odd shape, right? And then you would go and take this to your cutting mat and then measure this and add your seam allowance. Hi, Doris, Lake Forest, California. That sounds like a lovely place to be. So we're talking about measuring odd shapes today. It's the same thing with your, like this little iron. If I wanted to make a cozy that had to go around it, I could just use my twine and do it. But I got one better step. This is a flexible tape measure. It's one of the favorite things in my sewing room. They're $8. They're inexpensive. We have them at the store. I'll post them in the link. Some of you got these in your Serger subscription box if you belong to Amy Sew's subscription boxes. So let me show you how it works. So it is lettered. Oh my gosh, Amy, lettered. And again, sometimes the math doesn't math. So if you're out there, say, hey, where you're from. So this is, of course, in inches and millimeters. So if I wanted to go back to making a cozy for my coffee mate, I would just take this flexible ruler and measure around it and say it's 17 inches. Where else this is good? Upper arms, right? Upper arms are great. Thighs, legs, anything that's round that you need to get a good measurement on. But where it gets really fun is if you're trying to make something that has, odd shapes. And that's what this is all about. You want to make a cozy. Yay, Dora's got one in her Serger box. The Serger box next month is going to be on fire. We're good. Hi, Barbara. So I'm just going to lay this down along the outside edge of my iron. Now you would be adding seam allowances, and see how I can mold this right to where I need it to be. And also it's going to give me a traceable shape also, right? If you want it a little bit bigger, you can make it a little bit bigger, but you can see, hi, Linda, how easy that is to lay that around and kind of build that shape. And now there is the basic pattern shape for my iron cozy. Okay. So it makes it super easy. And like I said, some days the math just doesn't math for me. So hi, Denise from right down the road. You can do the same thing, with the measuring with the cord and then measure with your cord. But the fact that it's harder to keep the shape, that's why I like my flexible tape measure, because it makes it very easy to measure the size that I need, but also maintain some sort of a shape. If you're trying to make something, even when you're making something that has, this is a sneak peek, by the way, sneak peek. This is in the Serger box for September. Yeah, August. Scan and cut just left. So this is the same thing. Sometimes you need to take in consideration a thickness. So I just line up that with that. And there they are. So I just put the link in the description. They're on the website. They're only $8 and something. Let's see, $8.93. If you can't see that, $8.93. And that's how they come packaged. So that's the scoop. That's how you measure something that's odd shaped very easily. This is one of my favorite notions in my sewing box because, here we're always doing something odd. Jim and I are always like making something that's just a different shape, right? Rectangles aren't into play. This is the scan and cut box for this month. Look at it. Totally open, totally fabric, lace flat. You can make them out of whatever holiday fabric. So talk about odd sizes all the time. We are making things. You can see the palage over my shoulder. So Tuesday night is our live What's in the Box class. And then Zach and I will be in Austin for Brother Convention to see what's new. So we're excited about that. And then I get home for a couple days and I'm off to Baby Lock. And then I've already been to Bernina. I've already been to Janome. So it should end the summer up with staying in touch with what's happening in the sewing machine world. All right, everybody, have a terrific day. Go measure something weird shape. Make it cozy for something that you've always like is ugly and you want to cover it up. Now you can without doing the the hard math. All right, everybody, have a terrific day because the more you know, the more you sew.